Hey guys, NielVTEC here and welcome back to our Honda Civic series. In the last video we did some slight modifications on the car, but today we'll be doing some maintenance on the car instead. And if you guys saw my first video on the car, I bought this car with a broken AC and I was hoping it was only going to be a simple recharge, but that was not the case and it needed a replacement of the AC compressor. So how I know this is I went to a mechanic to inspect the car, which he then said that I needed to replace the AC compressor, and he quoted me 1K. So I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll fix it myself and I'll come back to him to recharge the car, just because it's more complicated recharging the car and there's so many ways that can go wrong. The next thing we'll be also doing is replacing the transmission fluid on this car, just because I feel like if you're keeping a car for a long term, it's a great idea to replace the transmission fluid so your transmission doesn't explode. So if you want to tackle this job, there's so many things that you have to know before doing it. The first thing is you have to flush the system of the freons, because if you get those in your eyes, you could go blind for the rest of your life, and I don't think anyone would want that. And yeah, and you should also plan ahead of what you want to do, because there's also many ways to do it. For example, so the AC compressor itself, it's down there, which means you could just remove the high and low pressure lines and remove the AC compressor from down if you have a lift, which is going to be a lot easier and faster. But today what we're going to be doing is removing the alternator, so we're going to have enough space to actually remove the AC compressor itself and to see what we're going to be doing. So yeah, the first thing we're going to be doing is removing the alternator, but you could also just remove the two lines if you want to, this one right here and this one right here, but that depends on you. I just want to remove the alternator first so I could see what I'm going to be working on. So I'm not going to be struggling removing this too when I can just have it an easier way. So yeah, let's get this started. So the first thing I'll be doing is removing the alternator, of course, but in order to do that, we'll be needing to remove the serpentine belt. And yeah, there's many ways you can remove it. You can remove it with a wrench, but the biggest wrench in my house right now is a 15mm, which is not big enough for this car, and you're gonna need a 19mm, which is why I went out and got myself a tool for that specific job. So yeah, if you also have this tool, what you're gonna want to do is, well, you can also use the wrench, of course, but what you're gonna want to do is just insert it in here and do a counterclockwise. So let's just find a way to get it in first. Just like that. And so yeah, you just want to release the tension in order to take out the belt, just like this. Just like that. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave this here for now, just because I might have a hard time putting it back. So yeah, we'll just remove it if ever it gets in the way. So the next thing we're gonna do is just remove this wire, just like that. There you go. As you can see, that's very rusted, and so you might encounter problems just like that in any other cars, just because you can't really prevent rust, especially here in Canada. But just work your way, and it should take time, but just know that there's always going to be a way to get the job done. So the next thing is just removing this plastic thing that's holding the wires, which is only going to be 2 of them. So yeah, don't mind if they break, but I'm going to try my best not to break them. Alright, so now it's time to remove the alternator itself. There's gonna be 3 bolts holding it in, and yeah, so there's gonna be one here, and one in the middle and the bottom. So just start to feel it and you should be able to find it. Alright, so we're just gonna loosen up the bolts. Make sure you don't remove anything for now, but especially make sure do not remove the top one, just because we want the alternator to be hanging up. Then we'll just remove the nut, then take out the alternator. So yeah, it's also going to be a 12mm bolt, so Alright, that's gonna be the hardest bolt for you to find, but just make sure the belt's not gonna be in the way. So all that hard work just to get this bolt. So yeah, it's not gonna be impossible, but it's gonna take a lot of time and patience. So you just gotta be very patient with it, and you should be able to do the job. The next bolt we're gonna be taking, it's gonna be this bolt, which is gonna be a lot easier. Alright, so I think I made an error. We don't really need to remove this bolt right here. I think it's only 2 instead of 3. So we already removed the hardest one to get. So this one we're just going to be removing this. Alright, this one's going to be the longer one. So now in theory, we should be able to remove the compressor. Yep, so yeah, it was only 2 bolts. Carefully put it somewhere safe, out of the way, and make sure it doesn't fall. So yeah, you don't actually need to remove this, but we're gonna end up removing it anyway just because it's gonna be in the way of the AC compressor. But don't do the same mistake, just remove it after you remove the alternator. So yeah. So what we're doing right now is removing this part right here, just because it's in the way. So there's gonna be 1 bolt here that we're trying to remove, and 1 bolt in the bottom right here. One of the lines is in the way of this bolt right here underneath. So you're not gonna be able to take it off unless you take this off first. So that's what we're gonna be doing. It's gonna be a 10mm, just like this one right here. Alright, just remove that bolt, put it somewhere safe. Put this somewhere safe or out of the way. Now you should be able to remove the bolt right there. So don't be a dumbass like me trying to remove this bolt, because the radiator fan is going to be on the way. So what you want to do, just remove all the bolts so they can all come out all together. Just like that. So as you can see, the AC compressor is right there and it shouldn't be too hard to remove. So now that we remove one of the lines, the next thing is to remove this one right here. Then we should be able to start removing the AC compressor. So this is what it looks like. It's not really a bolt, but it is. So yeah, sometimes it's gonna be harder to remove it just because it's been there for a very long time. So what you want to do with this one, make sure it's out of the way, and make sure you're gonna find it later on when we're gonna be replacing it with a new compressor. So if you want to look at the new compressor, there's gonna be 4 bolts that we're gonna be needing to remove. There's gonna be 2 on top, and there's gonna be 2 on the bottom. So what we're gonna be doing is loosening up the 2 on the top, and removing the 2 in the bottom, so the 2 on the top can hold the compressor. And so when we're at the last one, we can just remove it, and the AC has less chance of falling down in your engine bay. So it's gonna be a hard job, but make sure you have a flex head and a extension adapter, just so it's gonna make your job a lot easier. So let's get it started. So after multiple days ratcheting this nut right here, I lost about 40 years on my back life expectancy. We finally managed to remove it. So put it somewhere safe, make sure you don't lose it. Whew. The last hard bolt to get. Now remove the last 2 top bolts holding in the AC compressor. last final bolt. The AC should come right off, just like that. Right? Yep. It's all about patience. So if you're tired of watching me, you can put this back to yourself, but I'm just gonna show it just in case you guys are a bit confused. So how to put everything back is the top bolt first to hold in the AC compressor, then we're gonna work our way around it. You don't need that. Alright, so welcome back. It's been a week from the last clip, as you guys saw. I stopped recording for multiple reasons. Well, all of them are bad. First, my tool, the tool for the Serpentine belt broke. I don't know why I bought that thing in the first place, because they had so many reviews saying that it wasn't strong enough to like do its job. So what I did was just to buy a single 19mm wrench to do the job, because I just couldn't handle it anymore. So yeah, because I just wanted the job done at that point. So yeah, what I did was to put back the belt. What I did was put this thing here, all the way in, and take a breaker bar and put a socket in it. Right now it doesn't have a socket, but put it in a way here where it would like grab on one of the point things on this wrench and make sure this thing doesn't move. So with that, you would have enough leverage to actually release the tension of the belt, and you would be able to put back your belt. Anyways, after I replaced the AC compressor, the next day I went to a mechanic to actually do my recharge, and it cost me about $200 to do it, for just the recharge and just the compression check. And just doing the AC replacement myself already saved me about $600, which is pretty good. And yeah, I would recommend doing this yourself if ever you don't have a working AC, especially if you live in a very hot place. And other than that, just make sure you either do your own recharge if you're really good at it and like you actually know what you're doing. If not, I would recommend doing it in a professional place, just like the mechanic I went to. So yeah, it's pretty much worth it, considering if you don't do a good job, the AC wouldn't work and it might even break, and you definitely don't want that happening. So yeah, now what we're gonna be doing is replacing the transmission fluid. Just for the record, if it's not clear already, the AC works now. I'm pretty happy about it. Like when it's super hot, I don't have to roll down my windows and still sweat. I just can just open my AC and just be in my igloo. And yeah, it's cold now. The mechanic said it's -5 degrees, which is Celsius. Making sure my American fellow. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. Pretty happy that I saved tons of money. Pretty happy that I felt accomplished afterwards, and it was just worth doing it. So yeah, now we're gonna be doing is replacing the transmission fluid. Nothing's broken with the transmission, obviously, but just for preventive maintenance, I just like to do this in advance, and yeah, to keep the car safe and running. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the transmission fluid change. If you're doing this yourself too, just make sure to make the car running, make sure to drive the car, which I'm gonna probably show a clip right about now, me driving the car. Alright, so it's been more than a year or so that I changed the transmission fluid on this car. And yeah, what I can say is, for my opinion, maybe I could be biased or it's the placebo effect. I guess the transmission itself, like when I'm shifting, it's more crisp. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but like it's like a small difference compared to like the oil. And yeah, I'm just gonna do a pull for you guys here to show you guys, like, yeah. And before I changed the transmission oil, I used to have a trouble shifting in my second gear. It used to like not going fully, like I had to make sure or not it's gonna like pop out, and you know that hurts. So yeah, I don't have that trouble anymore, or at least not as much. So yeah. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's a placebo effect, but I feel like it's so much healthier than before. So yeah, it's a good practice to like change your oil here and there, like every 4 years or whatsoever. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, so just make sure you get the car running, make sure that's not leaking, and if it is, it's probably gonna be your washer, or you probably didn't tighten up the plugs hard enough. So make sure they're up to torque. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. I know that's probably gonna be a long video, or probably my longest video so far, but probably not as much fun as the last episode where I customized the car. But for me, doing the maintenance itself was pretty fun, and it's an important thing to do in your cars. It's definitely gonna make the car last longer, and it's not something that you should skip over or something you should save your money from. So yeah, for the next video, I'm probably gonna upgrade the audio system in the car. If not, I'm definitely gonna add a subwoofer, because this car, when I bought it, already has the subwoofer wires if you already watched the first video. So yeah, that's definitely a must. So yeah, if you enjoyed today's episode, leave a like. If you're excited for the future ones, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions at all about the steps of the maintenance I did today, leave a comment down below. And if you have any recommendation of what you want to see on this car, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next video.